What's going on, everybody? Scott Ogan coming at you today. We're going to talk a little bit more with the Garmin. Had a couple of alignment ideas that I think have really helped out with the unit. I'm going to give you one really kind of not practical one, but I think it's really good. And then I'm going to show you a pretty simple one that you can get that's going to be cost effective and I think a little bit more practical if you're going to be using this outside. So let's talk about it. One thing I just wanted to mention as we're getting into this video, it's getting to that time of year where you're going to be starting to think about how you're going to be improving throughout the winter months. I am going to have my winter practice program that you can sign up for now. We have some things that we are doing while we're outside before the program actually launches. So again, it's something you want to get into now because you're getting some instructions on how to know what you're going to be working on when that time comes. So click that link down below. You can sign up for it right now and get started on improving and making the most out of your launch monitors, your indoor practice space, whatever you're going to be using to get better in the off season. We're going to talk about the Garmin here again today. So one of the big issues that I had in using the device was just, hey, how do I know that it's aligned, right? Because I think with any radar units, I think with any launch monitor, it's the number one thing you have to be able to do is get the unit aligned. And that's going to dictate how all of your numbers work. So having that ability is something that's crucial. It's the one thing I've really been critical of with the device is that it's kind of hard because they only give you this little red line at the top to be able to align. So I wanted to come up with a couple ways that I could align the device and have a good feel for, are the numbers accurate and are they something that I can rely on? So the first one I came up with, and this is an idea that I think you could use. However, this one is not going to be super cost effective. And I don't think this one's going to work if you're going anywhere else outside on the range. Plus, it requires battery charging, stuff like that. So I don't think this is the super easy way to do it, but I used actually a putting laser that I own. I already have these and I use these for teaching, obviously, but this is from Rick Wright. This is called Laser Optics. This is actually version 2. I think he has version 3 out, which just lets you charge it like a normal USB charger or micro USB. But what it is just basically a laser line. You can see here, I won't sign at the camera, but it's just a laser line. It's like a chalk line, but in laser form, so it's just easier to use for things like that. And so I used it here to be able to get the line of this laser on the red line of the device. And then I was able to line it up where my ball was going to be hit and then line it up to the target. So it worked really good to be able to feel like, hey, this device is really aligned. And what it let me do is actually hit some shots and kind of test out what I thought of the numbers that are going on with this device, okay? So club path being the big one that I'm worried about, club face. And as I was hitting shots, to be honest, I thought it did a very decent job. The only thing I would say is the club face sometimes felt like it read a little closed, but that could just be me. Again, that's just my opinion, and I do tend to pull the ball, so that would indicate a closed club face, so take that with a grain of salt. But I thought if anything, it was within like a degree, so that's very good. And then the club path, I thought it did an excellent job of reading the club path to the correct side. If I swung to the right, it felt like it was right. If I swung to the left, I felt like I was swinging left. The only thing I could say is occasionally I would get a fairly sizable number, like 9 or 10 to the right. I don't think I ever will swing like that. And I wasn't trying to do anything crazy. But again, that was only happening once in a while. And so it's something I want to keep monitoring because maybe it's true. Maybe I do swing that much, but my ball flight, especially outside, does not represent what that would look like. So I'm just tending to think that the unit is just giving me a little bit of a weird calculation there. Again, it's not happening every time, but it happens once in a while. So I thought getting the unit lined up is a critical thing, and you're gonna get some decent numbers if you're able to do that. Now, the problem with it is, if you're gonna try to line up like this, one, you gotta get a laser like this, which is, well over $100, depending on where you get it from. I've saw it for like $140, and that's not gonna be super practical. Plus, you're gonna have to somehow get this lined up, and the laser outside isn't really gonna shoot out where you wanna go like it does inside here. You gotta have something to hit on the opposite side, so I don't think that's super reasonable to use if you're going to be trying to line this thing up. So there was another device that was brought to my attention, and I want to thank the owner and the inventor, Bo, for sending me this. He said, hey, check this out because I think this could really help you with the issue. And so what we're talking about here is just a little stand, and it's what I love is its beauty is the simplicity of it. Is just a little stand that you can use, all right? And it just has the little alignment hole here for you to put an alignment rod in, and then you can point that where you want to go. And if you're using a regulation length alignment rod, you're basically covering half the distance between you and the device. And to be honest, you can get 6-7 foot long alignment rods that, again, might be a little bit tough to carry with, but you could use that and have it lined up all the way to your device and be able to see where you're pointing as you go. Do I think this is something you could do? Absolutely. I do this practice of using alignment rods to point at targets every single time I go to the range. If you watch Chasing Scratch, you saw when I practice, I'm putting alignment rods down. So I don't think it's any different to be able to take this device and be able to point it wherever you want to go. Now, what I also like is this acts as a stand for the device, so you can put the legs right in this little notches here. Now, if you're not looking to do that, let's say you have a reason that you're not doing that, there's also a secondary device that comes with it where you can just line this up with the legs on the ground and have the alignment rod in here and point it to wherever you want to go. So again, the simplicity of the device is what makes it great. I also like just little things. This fits in your bag. I already have alignment rods all the time, so I'm not going to show up to the range and have it because it should be in there. So I think it's a great device. I checked it with my ability to point at a target and then put the laser and see how well I was able to line up to my target. I did very, very good. So that's awesome. And so I think the device works very, very well. And again, it's very inexpensive compared to getting your own laser and doing all that stuff where you're not going to be able to use that device all the time. So this is a much better option in my opinion as you're going through. So if you get your alignment correct with the Garmin, the device I think works very well. It's a ton of fun. I'm going to show you around later this week, so make sure you click that subscribe button so you don't miss it. And I think it's something that you can actually use and get better at. But you have to get it aligned correctly and you have to look at what options are going to be able to help you do that. I don't think if you just try to eyeball it with the red line on the top that you're going to be able to figure it out. So you got to get some help. This is probably the best way right here. Again, I'll link this down below and you should check it out and see what you can do with it and see if you can pick one of these up because it's going to be a big help and it's going to make your investment in your launch monitor a lot better. So check these out. Really helpful for the Garmin. They're going to really help you make the most out of that device.